Real Estate Follow-Up 101. I'm gonna tell you all the tips and tricks. Number one, you need to follow up way more than you think you do. 80% of conversions happen between the 6th and 12th contact. Most real estate agents, most salespeople give up after the 2nd or 3rd try. Don't be like everybody else and be an amazing agent who actually does follow up as many times as it takes in order to help people achieve their goal of home ownership. To follow up properly, you need to have some sort of a system. Even if it's not super built out or super high tech, doesn't matter. You can have a system that's simply bullet points or a checklist of when you should follow up with people. So for example, let's say you get a brand new lead. You should be reaching out to them roughly 10 times within the first 2 weeks. Make a couple phone calls the first day that you receive that lead to try and get a hold of them. If you don't get a hold of them, I call my leads once a day for the next 3-4 days after that. Then I call them every other day for the next about half a week. And then I start calling them once a week for the next month. Then I start calling once a month for the rest of the time until they either tell me to go away or they actually buy or sell a house with me. So it is not that much time when you really think about it to call people once a month. That's maybe, 20 seconds of your time if they don't pick up. But if they do and they end up needing help when you called them, that's a commission check. So you gotta think about this as we're mining for gold here. And when you're mining for gold, the majority of what you are digging through is dirt and worth nothing. And yes, we get that, but you have to dig through enough of that in order to find the gold. So number one, you have to follow up more than you think you do, especially in the first 2 weeks of when you receive a lead. Try and go for 10 reach outs. And I was just talking about phone calls. That doesn't even include text messages, emails, reaching out to them on social media. There's lots of different ways that you can do this and reasons to follow up. If it's a buyer lead that came in, you can ask them, hey, are you looking for properties in XYZ area, depending on how let's say they found you on your website and you can see what areas they were searching in. Just clarify, hey, are you still looking in Oregon City or whatever it is? And then the next time you follow up, maybe you send them a house that was similar to the one that they were looking at on your website and say, hey, I just was thinking about you, wanted to send this property your way. Looks like this might be in your area and match the criteria you were looking for. So switch it up. Don't just always say the same thing every single time you try and reach out to them. Having the follow-up in place and knowing what to say when you reach out, it would literally take you maybe 30 minutes to plan out your first 12 contacts. If you were to sit down and took 30 minutes to plan out what you might say to a buyer or a seller when you get a new lead for those first 12 contacts or first 10 contacts within the first 2 weeks, then you never have to stress again about, ooh, what am I gonna say this 4th time I'm calling them? And honestly, the majority of the time, they're not answering every time. So sometimes you don't even have to say anything. And by the way, that leads me to my next point, is that do not leave a voicemail every single time you call them. I used to do that every single time when I first got started, but here's the thing. Number one, it took me more time to actually leave voicemails, hang up, and then dial the next. So it's gonna save you time. And number two, I never got that many callbacks anyways. So depending on the situation or your relationship with that lead, maybe you just leave a voicemail the 3rd time you call them, and then maybe not again till the next week when you try reaching out. So just remember, switch up the way that you follow up with people using phone calls, number one, text message, email, social media, however else you can reach and get a hold of people, and maximize all that, because most people, they prefer 1, maybe 2 different ways of being contacted. So you got to make sure that you're hitting all of those, because you never know what leads may prefer a phone call versus a text or versus maybe a DM. Another thing you can incorporate into your lead follow-up is video text messages or video emails. This gives a really personalized touch, and it builds rapport so much better than literally anything else, because they're getting to hear you audibly and they're getting to see your face, and seeing someone's face instantly helps people build rapport so much better and actually increases your conversion rate. And I know a lot of people are afraid to put their face out there, but I promise you it's gonna stand out way more than what other real estate agents or honestly, most other salespeople or people in the service industry are doing. So anything that can set you apart or give you a leg up in this business is gonna help you, especially if you create a system and a process around it and incorporate those video text messages and emails into your follow-up from the very beginning. And then you continue to do that. I promise you it is going to get easier, and then people are gonna expect that from you, and they're gonna really like it, and they're gonna comment about it, and they're gonna tell their friends or their family, hey, like, I've never had a real estate agent that sends me video updates, and this is really cool. I actually get to hear from him or her. So just know that sending video messages more than anything on social media or text or email, however, whatever platform that you do it on is going to make a bigger impact than just sending a text. Now I know you are still thinking in your mind, but Jenn, I feel like I'm bothering people. Here's the thing. I have been doing this for over a decade. And what I've noticed, and I've tested all sorts of things, and number one, the stat about most conversions happening between the 6th and 12th contact proved to be true. Whatever sales industry that someone's in, the stats don't lie, the numbers don't lie. So regardless of your skill set, it's a numbers game more than anything. So even if you didn't feel as comfortable, if you just continue to follow up, it will work. You will convert people because most people, like I said, give up after the first, second, third try. Here's the thing. Have you ever been in a situation where a certain salesperson, maybe it's a car salesman, reached out to you and you weren't ready to buy a car? But then when you were ready to buy a car, maybe it was 6 months later, maybe it was a year later. But imagine one car salesman that just dropped you a note or sent you a voicemail or sent you a text message, maybe once a month or every other month until you were ready. Do you think that salesperson is gonna be top of mind when it comes time for you to go buy a car? Absolutely. And here's the thing, it's not annoying if they're actually providing value. If that car sales rep took the time to figure out what car you were interested in and gave you tips, tricks, facts about the car, types of cars, and made it no pressure and said, hey, look, I know you're not ready to buy a car right now, but just wanted to let you know, this car just came out as one of the top safety vehicles in the nation, and I know you've got a family. So I just wanted to let you know, this is a really top rated car, and when the time comes, this is gonna be a great decision for your family. So if they're doing things like that and not being annoying and being low pressure, knowing that they're not quite ready, why wouldn't you work with that person? So you gotta be that same person for everybody else. You don't have to expect to close people on the first phone call because stats say 2% of the time that's gonna happen. So don't expect it to happen and don't get down on yourself if you don't get a hold of people, you don't close them on the first, second, or third phone call. It's okay because most people are not necessarily ready right that second. But if you foster and nurture a relationship and you actually provide value and take the time to understand and ask what it is that they need, when it is that they need it, and why it is that they need it, then you just provide value from there. Then you have all sorts of reasons to follow up. Hey, I was just thinking about you. I know you mentioned that your 2 years is coming up on when you last purchased your house. So we're getting really close to the time where you're gonna be able to avoid capital gains because we're coming up on that 2 years. So just wanted to let you know, I've been looking at homes in the area that you're looking to move. Things are looking great. Interest rates are at this point right now. So anyways, I'll get back to you in another couple months when we get close to that deadline. Like, it's as easy as that, but see, you wouldn't be able to know what to say, and it would just be a check-in call if you didn't actually know why and how and when people are gonna make that move. So just make sure, number one, when you do reach people, that you get a clear understanding of why it is that they wanna make a move and their time frame. That way you can follow up appropriately, which brings me to my last tip. Anytime a lead says to call you whatever time frame out it is, let's call it 6 months. You always want to cut it in half. If a lead tells you call me in 6 months, you call them in 3. And this is what you say. Hey, I know you said that the summertime is when you want to sell. Perfect. Just calling you back to make sure that that's still the plan. Or if you had any questions while I have you on the line. And then Sometimes they're gonna say, yeah, no, summer's still the plan. And other times they're gonna say, actually, I'm so glad you called because XYZ changed in our situation and we're actually ready to go right now. I cannot tell you how many times that has happened in my real estate career. And I am so glad that I followed the rule of cut that time in half of when that lead asked me to call back. And that goes for anything. If they tell you to call you in 2 weeks or call me in 2 weeks, call them in 1 and make sure they still want to reach out to you or still want to move forward in that time frame that they originally told you. Because you guys, life changes. Situations change. So you got to be able to anticipate and be there for people before they even realize that they need you. That is what makes a great salesperson. So if you do all of these things, if you incorporate all these tips and tricks into your follow-up, your conversion rates are going to go through the roof. Now, my final, probably the most important tip that actually coincides with your follow-up is a CRM system. I get asked all the time, Jen, what's the best CRM system out there? And my answer every single time is the one you're going to use. It does not matter. If you don't have a ton of money to spend on a CRM system, don't worry about it. Buy the cheapest one. I've paid $100 a month for some CRM systems, and I've paid thousands of dollars per month for some CRM systems. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You just need something where you can input all of your contacts with all of their contact information, and then a reminder system where you can plug in tasks for yourself to remind you to reach out to people. It's as simple as that. And if you can just follow up in that way, you're gonna be unstoppable and easily top real estate agent in your area. Thank you so much for watching Follow Up 101. If you want some more personalized advice or have any questions for me, feel free to schedule a call. You can also feel free to join my team because there's a lot more where this came from, and I love helping real estate agents level up their business and make more money. All I want